Today is July 7th, 2025. Yesterday on the 6th, I went to the storage unit to get my things out of it. There was a lady outside as I was loading up, and she's talking to a guy. She said, I looked up the laws of how these people can't do any of this. She said, and we all heard that guy out there saying that judge signed over her $10 million reward money for getting Trekasami arrested, and that he spent almost all of it on himself. How not funny is that? And she's uploaded the laws how they couldn't do this. And we all know Melissa got taped telling her kids to lie, and her kids were stating they were lying. Okay? And she said these people got away with publicly raping her. And no matter what, they should have went to jail. Okay? Well, the other day I uploaded up on Facebook, then I did the video of, now I put it up here on YouTube, of the different laws. 14th Amendment. You cannot seize money by due process of the law. You have to be found guilty and sued for it. You also cannot withhold protection in any jurisdiction. It is illegal. Okay? It also states in the 7th Amendment that only a impartial jury trial can award a set amount of money. It makes it illegal for a judge to sign it over. Okay, then the 4th Amendment, the right of privacy. Police and agencies can only be in a home under a threat of life with statements quoted or without a conflict of interest. Okay? You have the right to remain quiet, 5th, right to an attorney, 6th. You also have a freedom of speech. No one can take your freedom of speech away but a judge during a jury trial. Okay? So where that guy on the 4th, where he was saying he was friends with Judge Ludick, and they let him get away with crimes because they're friends, and that he signed my Tarekasami award money, the $10 million, over to him. He told him she was mean to her kids, so he gave it to him. And he spent almost all of it on himself. That guy was out there lying so bad. He said, John called me and said, make sure Melissa gets everything. Her and the kids. John would say, hell freezes over, and how dare you help her? She makes enough money for several households. She makes, be an electrical design engineer. She designs the electrical wiring for buildings and then inspects them. She makes $95,000 to $145,000 a year. Because of her mean stunt, getting the kids, he has to pay her like $30,000 in child support. She makes about $175,000 a year. He would be telling her she couldn't afford it with all that money. You did all that to get the kids. Find your own way. And don't anybody help her. See, after their divorce, she dropped off the kids. He got the kids settled down. He went in to use the bathroom. She snuck in his house. He didn't know she was there. Waited for him to walk out of the bathroom. Screamed and lunged at him. Out of being startled, he shoved her. Somebody screaming, lunging at you, startled you. Laughed at him. Now I got you. Called the cops on him, had him arrested for domestic violence. Had to bail himself out, get an attorney, pay fines. Lost his kids for almost a year. Called me in 2020, 21. Said, Mom, I need a reliable name to put on the court records to pick up the kids from school. I said, John, I work 2 jobs. I don't get off the first job to pick up the second, to go work at the second one. I can't pick up the kids. I won't even be off the first job. I barely can keep my apartment now. I'll be homeless. He said, but Mom, if you don't help me, I'll lose my kids forever. My one job only made $12 an hour. I'm like, John, I can't even hardly afford everything now. If I quit one of my jobs, I'll lose everything. I won't even be able to afford my apartment. I'm sorry, I can't help you. He's like, Mom, if you don't help me, I'll lose my kids forever. I said, I'm so sorry. I can't afford my bills now. Now I'm working 2 jobs and I won't even be off the first one. And he begged and begged me and I felt horrible, but I couldn't make it already. I mean, I was barely making it. He ended up losing his kids. She got total custody out of her horrible, mean stunt. He moved to Florida years ago, remarried to a beautiful woman, looks very happy, comes visits the kids every so many times a year, every few months. Now, with her pulling that stunt, hell could freeze over before he'd help her. And with the amount of money she gets, he'd tell you she wanted sole custody of those kids. Tell her to figure it out herself. Don't you dare help her. He was lying on John. So he was probably lying on Ludick. In 1918, they started talking about a retired Judge Pete. By 19, a little old white man with a long white beard showed up. Even Faith Family Church seen him 3,000 people. He said he was retired Judge Pete from the Ravenna Courthouse, friends with Ludick, letting him get away with crimes, and the Portage County Sheriffs were helping him. You watch him walk around saying it. I never talked to him in person. Also at Faith Family Church, the Florida Drug Cartel was there. People told them they were from Florida. And they worked for Judge Peters. And they were the ones impersonating the Portage County Sheriffs and the FBI agents that were hurting me and selling the login. Michelle was with them. Okay? Now, on Google, it flat out states it is against the law for any judge to do anything for an attorney that is his friend. It is illegal for them to rule over any kind of trial or sign any documents for them for a conflict of interest. Not only do they lose their license and are disbarred, but is a 15-year federal criminal sentence. Now, I would like to know why, where I heard Danny off in the distance, April 16th, 23. He said, I finally called Dad, asked him what on earth is going on. He said he had hired some guy named Pete on his own. It was Pete and his men in our home before. Pete has her frame. Pete has her taped, the filthy, dirty statement. I've never met him in person. Never talked to him. They're talking about my rapist. Where May 30th, 25, the Louisville police were outside with a lady. Okay? And they said the investigators found May 26, 25 of the cartel admitting this whole thing is a scam from Bill from the Freemasons. And that doctor from before is not one of hers but worked for them and they had lied. Okay? They said the investigators looked up the case and said her ex-husband hired 2 men on his own to do this to her. One said he was an attorney. So it made it legal. No, it don't. It makes it worse illegal. Yes, it does. It make it worse illegal. Right on Google, it is illegal no matter what for an attorney to set up button cameras in your home. It is cyber stalking and felony invasion of privacy. They not only get disbarred, but they are to face criminal charges. There's no reason for an attorney ever to be in your home, let alone drugging somebody for fake confession and having been raped. Rural King in New Philadelphia, I was down there. They were saying the police and the investigators working the case looked it up. My ex-husband had hired 2 men on his own. It was an attorney's office that did it to her. And it was an attorney's office thought they could have her drugged for fake confessions, photoshopped and framed on their own. And they thought they could have her drugged, beaten, raped. Nobody would ever say a word to her. See, that lady yesterday outside the storage unit was even saying those people even roofied a U.S. Marshals kid. Twice. Because you're sleepwalking. Over 10 to 20 prescription drugs in high doses will make you sleepwalk with no memory without the legal ones. They're fake sodium pentothal. They're drug confessions. That's where I would take a drink out of a drink, the room would go dizzy and black, or wake up with injection marks, bruises, throwing up, heart racing, severely infected, almost passing out in front of people. They were drugging me and telling me, say stuff. I heard of photoshopping a shower scene in the other room and washing in their stocking tape as a bitch move. And they admitted to framing me and all kinds of stuff. Okay? A week ago Saturday, I was in Circle Restaurant in Deerfield. Men are in there laughing at me. We all know that attorney's office had her drugged and told to say that before. And that attorney was having men pay him to rape her. And then men said she's not a bad older lady, bad looking older lady, and they didn't mind paying that attorney to rape her. And they're laughing at me. Some of them said they had a good time. I was in, a week ago Sunday, I was in Golden Corral, and men were in there. He told this guy, he said, I was in there and in the Circle Restaurant, and they were laughing at her, how that attorney's office had her drugged and told to say it before. He said, well, the originals already confessed they did it. He said, well, they were mocking her for it. And they were mocking her that attorney was taking payoffs from men to have her raped. 119, they said somebody was taking a payoff to have men rape me. That was a guy Dave hired. Now, I'd like to know that some guy named Pete on his own, and that Will or Bill from the Freemasons. What do they have against Judge Timothy Ludick? Why do you want that Christian judge arrested? Where on Saturday, where that guy was outside my clients on the 4th, that him and Ludick are friends and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. They showed up on the 5th at Bob Evans. We all heard that guy outside saying he's friends with Ludick. He lets him get away with crimes. And he signed $10 million over to him. He better not have. They said some guy's framing that judge. It's the guy Dave hired on his own. See, that lady said, I wonder if it was his divorce attorney yesterday. I would more look, well, they'll know who it is. Because if you pull the case where they said it's an attorney's office, that and where they were talking about Melissa's attorney friend that thinks they can extort money out of mean games that pretend, that are documented mean games that pretend. Nobody went to the hospital. There's no pictures of injuries. No police were called. She didn't make it up till the FBI case. That's why her FBI agent John didn't mention it, because she hadn't made it up yet. The police and the FBI have all called her out of knowing they taped her saying she was lying. See, that's where that girl said, well, we all know they taped Melissa telling her kids to lie, and their kids were saying they were lying. Stark County sheriffs have mentioned it, the FBI agents that worked my case, Massillon police, and even the Carrollton. That they taped those kids saying they were lying on Thanksgiving of 18th. Officer Mark announced it also in Walmart 62. Melissa could go to jail for this. He said for involving herself, I'd hate to arrest her. Her kids are little. He said, why don't we just write it up that her and the kids were showing off for Dave's new girlfriend. Where Officer John, January 12th, 22, Walgreens, North Main, 4:55 p.m., where those kids get taped stating they made everything up. I was in Mount Carmel, Illinois, June or July of 21, and the cartel followed me down to Mount Carmel, Illinois. I was at the gas station, that weird Eric that laughed at everybody for falling for it in 22. He was stalking me. He was calling people. Their cell phones are going off. I'm sitting out in my car smoking, and people are walking by calling me bad names. Got so mad I yelled out, "If you don't believe I'm innocent, call the Maslin police." Yelled out their number. The street went quiet. They yelled out, some guy yelled out, they said they're documenting me games of pretend, that she never hurt anyone. I was in Maslin in 21. I was outside smoking in my car before I went into Dixie and Josh's. And some guy pulled up and called the police on me and said, they said they're documenting me games of pretend, she never hurt anyone. Leave her alone. See, they thought they fooled that agent. They just pull a bitch move. Make up some mean jokes behind my back. They didn't make them up until after the case started. Right after on Thanksgiving of 18, her kids got tapes stating they wanted the house for Auntie Cheryl and Papa, and Grandma needed to get out. And then later on to Florida, they made everything up. They were games of pretend. Okay. John defended me when I asked him what's going on. He didn't know. He told Melissa I was moving out and we're going to go through a divorce. She'd have the kids make up something and her church people. But don't worry about it. Nobody could say anything bad about you. It'd just be made up because of the divorce. You shouldn't have said anything till it happened. Well, I did, and since nobody can say anything bad about you, don't worry about it. Okay, and he shoots me. Okay? The police and the FBI call her out. They've already sold the log and announced that other people are showing up knowing the case. There's no hiding anything. Front of Walmart, police and FBI agents have a huddle. Why are they having those kids make that shit up? Oh, they're just trying to scare her out of the house. That's it. We interviewed her whole family. They spoke highly of her. Okay. Then other ones, Melissa's so stupid she made everything up when you were fishing with Dave. She's actually that stupid she didn't check where you were. For random October 23rd, 2019. Of course it never happened. Of course it wasn't true. We made it up. They were games of pretend. Make up something, call me a bad word. My God. Back in my day, you made up a lie like that, you'd be spitting soap bubbles for a month. They'd wash your mouth out with soap. Under Google, if you have your kids lie that something happened to them and it didn't to extort money or scare somebody out of something, it's considered extortion. You go to jail under extortion and child abuse because you're putting a mental stigma upon them and mental trauma, having them pretend. It's actually a severe crime. Officer Mark was quite generous not arresting her. See, that's where I was out in Alliance last week? And this guy was talking to an investigator. Said I was there, though her kid family was sitting around laughing, making up all kinds of stuff on her. It was sick. See, that's what they said in 18, that Karen's family ought to be ashamed of themselves. She's risking her life to get information on these people trying to save everybody's life. She's almost died. And they're sitting around laughing, making up stuff. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. They were saying that into 19 and 20. March 23rd, 23, 2 FBI agents from the Belden office walk into Walmart 62. We told these people to stay out of it. We interviewed her whole family a long time ago. Nobody's ever seen anything. She's never hurt anyone. And it was just some lady thought she could make money off of it. Was that the lady with the Louisville place on May 30th, 25? They already yelled at him years ago. That lady yesterday outside the storage unit said, we already know that one lady who's trying to railroad people into jail. By the way, honey, I turned you over to the DOJ, FBI, sheriffs, and every other law enforcement I can think of. Entrapment is a federal crime. Back away from my family. Oh, and Agent John, that guy said, that was outside, that's Freeman Ludick, that he's going to take his fake fraudulent court order to get everything, which is a federal crime, supposed to be signed by Ludick. He's going to show up at the court. He said he's going to show up at the courthouse and demand my informant money. Can I have a video of you going crazy on him? Oh, my one friend, Grant, had a friend in another FBI office out of state. He told him about this. He said if she really didn't get her money, then the only one that could have took it was that agent. And it was your responsibility to make sure you handed it to me. I like my money. We need to talk about you paying your civilian employees on a more timely manner, your unsafe work environment, and I have a lot of workers' comp claims. I like my Truckasami money. And I'll tell you what, Judge Timothy Ludick will rest a lot easier when you arrest that attorney's office, that Pete that Dave hired on his own, and that Will, for framing him. They're trying to railroad that Christian judge into jail. They've been trying to frame Chief Bruce Lewinsky and the Portage County Sheriffs, and it's that bill from the Freemasons that Pete, that attorney's office, is trying to frame all law enforcement up there. So what'd you do to that attorney's office? Why do they hate you guys so bad? You gotta think of where they said they were using me as a pawn. They're after you guys. That lady outside of the thing said every time they try to say something to her, that please tell them that she's an FBI informant. No one can say a word to her. Okay, we're going to put it this way. We need to stop acting stupid. What would you say to me? You arrested him, right? Stop acting stupid. You arrested him, right? It's right on Google. It is illegal no matter what for an attorney to set up button cameras in your home. It's cyber stalking, felony, invasion of privacy. You arrested him, right? I heard about the shower scene on washing yourself in the other room, that they photoshopped it, laughed in my face in front of police and investigators. And where I had to take a drink out of a drink, the room and go dizzy and black, wake up with injection marks, bruises, throwing up, heart racing, severely infected, and I thought it was a dirty well water killing me. And here it's sexual predators drugging me for fake confessions, raping me, and being human trafficked under drugs. So you arrested the vile, sick criminals, right? They're fake sodium pentothal reports of cocktail drugs. They were lacing drinks and stabbing me with date rape drugs, telling me to say stuff, get me stoned. You arrested the vile, evil criminals and having me human trafficked under drugs by strangers. You arrested them, right? Or the fake dirty doctor isn't one of mine but works for them and they lied? You arrested them, right? May 25th, 25, Hollister's and Summit Mall. Boy, did Bill from the Freemason run the biggest scam here. Had some guy go in and tape her in the shower washing herself. Can you imagine taping somebody washing herself? Photoshop that in the other room. Had another guy go in and drug her up and tell her to say that. Can you imagine someone drugging somebody up and telling them to say something like that? Then ran a contest off of it, of who could steal her money. Scammed everybody into helping out. Cackling like this is funny. Michelle had already told the agent, and the FBI and police have already taped her again, saying how they had lied. That doctor is not one of hers. but worse for them, and they had lied that he was one of my doctors and that I don't even know who he is. So you arrested him, right? I can go into the laws of HIPAA, Privacy Acts. Half my medical records are Dave's girlfriend. I even found out through the FBI he cheated on me my whole marriage, and my whole marriage was a scam. That a girlfriend from before me made him marry me so he could get a job at my dad's factory so she'd have free insurance. The woman using my insurance was his girlfriend. Over half my medical bills for 15 years are his girlfriend's. Got stuck with the copays. Large ones. She went Harry Carey on my insurance and my prescription card. March 27, 25, after midnight. Guy that was dating Michelle got it out of Dave. Got it out of Michelle when they crushed in my head. Tried to kill me or leave me incompetent. It didn't work. And the reason I don't know who that doctor is, he's not one of mine. He works for them, and they had lied. And that she actually don't know who he is. Y'all look like fucking fools to me. How would you like to be me? Y'all look like insane nuts. There's no such thing as a court order to get everything. There's no such thing. There is no such thing as an attorney friend of a judge getting a signed paper that you get everything. That's fraud. Nor could they file it. Told you the different amendments, the 7th Amendment and the 14th in the Constitution. It keeps everybody honest. Told you about HIPAA violation, right to privacy. No doctor that is not yours can evaluate you. It's medical negligence and it's a 10-year sentence. They're not your doctor. They touch you, it's assault and battery, you get 20. No doctor that's not yours without signed consent can ever look up your medical records. It's the HIPAA and Privacy Act is 10 years. Nor can they ever, they sent my community health, said, my doctor there, said, I want to read the notes before you leave. Said some office hired a psychiatrist on their own to evaluate her. Psychiatrist said if she says she has a dent in her head, she was distraught over her divorce, she probably banged her head in until she dented it. You'd pass out first. Because some office did it on their own. No one's to say a word. It is illegal for a doctor to evaluate you. That's not yours. They don't have a right to put opinion on you. It's a 10-year sentence. Nor can they hire you. And I've never signed consent for to be evaluated, nor was I evaluated or met them. You can't just write up on fraud on somebody you've never even talked to. I was at Ohio Neck and Ear Surgeon. I had a hard piece of wax stuck in my ear. The back office said some psychiatrist's office is running around telling everybody says she's part of an FBI case, not to believe her. We told them we don't want to hear it. Oh, that's a big HIPAA violation. Okay? Big HIPAA violation. They told them they didn't want to hear it. That is a federal crime. It's not, I don't have a psychiatrist. And see, that's where they said not to believe her, that she was part of an FBI case. She was part of the FBI case. That is what's going on. They already figured it out. We told them we don't want to hear it. It's a federal crime. No doctor can even admit they've seen you without your consent. They can't talk about you. They can't discuss anything you said to them, or they go to jail. 10 years and $1 million fine. It's not even my doctor. Nor do I know who it is. They're just running the biggest scam on me in the world. I'm going to upload this.